use that spot. It's kind of cool that you.
What's up, are you?
Picked my spot.
So we're in coffee time.
Yeah.
I'm recording.
I know.
Okay.
So, I'm not an idiot. I used to spend a lot of time here in college, actually, and trying to get my fix of Portland coffee time before we leave today.
So we're in Northwest Portland. We're in this little, like, cubicle of a nook of a coffee shop. Looks like it would be a good place to hang out. Like,
it is a good place to hang out.
It's really echoey. There's a lot of art. It's like a booth, but it's completely enclosed. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good spot. This has been one of my favorite spots. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I'm looking at the community billboard. Is that what's called, a billboard or
so community wall.
Pin board, and a lot of the alternative newspapers, including the Portland Mercury, which I have one in my hand. But Lindsay's taking selfies.
I like the background. It's my favorite thing. It's so funny because in college I used to come here and quote unquote study, whatever you want to call that, at 18 in a big city.
Quote unquote, you didn't actually study?
Not a lot, but when I did, I came here.
You just like to hang out and drink coffee.
Basically. But I did do a lot of reading in this actual nook.
Quote unquote reading?
No, actual.
Or actual reading?
Actual reading. Why are you being such a pretentious jerk face all of a sudden?
I'm not.
I don't know. You're kind of in a mood.
I'm not in a mood.
Maybe you should drink some more coffee today. See how that works out.
I'm drinking coffee.
Good thing.
So read for fun or read for whatever you...
No, read for school. I had a class called Sex, Mind, and the Mask, and it was Portland State's equivalent of your prerequisites for liberal arts. And so I got into that one, and it was talking about gender studies and sexuality.
Is that what you're studying?
No, it was...
Liberal arts?
Well, it was part of our prerequisite curriculum at Portland State.
But the degree you wanted was a liberal arts? Or?
No. I was actually going to school for communications, and then I was going for anthropology, but I changed my major a few times. But when I started, that's what it was. But Portland State had these kind of offbeat liberal arts degree-focused core classes that you had to pick from, and Sex, Mind, and the Mask was the one that I got into. So
makes sense. Portland is a very offbeat place.
Yeah, it was a weird core bunch of classes. It was gender, sexuality, studying roles in literature and how that affects sexuality and gender portrayal in art. It was a very intense class. It was good. It was also a little bit awkward at times.
Was it helpful to your curriculum?
I think it was helpful to my perspective in life. I wouldn't necessarily say it had anything to do with what I was actually studying at the time, but it was definitely helpful for my perspective and stuff in life. So I'm excited to try this matcha latte, by the way. Yeah. It is pretty beautiful. It is pretty beautiful.
It's like latte art, but it's
very dreamy.
It's green instead of it's green and white instead of brown and white. Like you see, if you Google latte art, you'll usually see a little flower and brown and white colors. This is the same thing, but it's green and white. It's pretty neat.
So black and yellow.
Black and yellow. Black and yellow.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Our trip is wrapping up.
It's a little bittersweet. For me.
I know, bittersweet leaving. Your thoughts on Portland,
Gosh, my thoughts on Portland?
I like traveling with you. I like experiencing new places. I always have. And Portland is just a very interesting place.
It is.
Is evoke or invoke?
Evokes emotions.
A lot of emotions for me.
Me too.
I feel. Okay, I'll let you talk because I asked you the question.
No, go ahead. I want to hear your perspective before I share mine because I don't want mine to influence yours.
Yeah. I have this feeling of I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong or what, but like my feeling is like it's not fair.
It's not fair?
It's not fair that...
What is it, like life?
It's not fair that, like, people live here like this, and then there's people that... I don't know. Maybe there's a good and a bad side to things, but I'm thinking, like, it's not fair that people... Like, we were driving here, and there's, like kids and their parents, like, riding their bikes around, like, happy-go-lucky. And my kid got to witness a robbery yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
It's not fair. I don't know. Like, and I grew up in a pretty unique community. But, what you doing?
I'm just adding a picture so that I can remember this moment.
Instagramming?
Yeah. I'm listening to you. I hope you know that.
Okay.
It's not fair.
It's probably a wrong. It's probably a wrong.
Is it a jealousy, or is it just like
I think it might be a little envy.
envy?
Maybe a little jealousy.
Is your envy green like this matcha latte?
Yes, it is green like that matcha latte.
Like the giant Pacific Northwest trees?
Yes. See, I'm very defensive of my home, and I feel like I always have to be defensive of my home. I feel like I have to defend my home because it's my home. Like,
I think that's a Albuquerque attitude even.
And people don't have to defend Portland. Everybody loves Portland. Like, you've never had to defend Portland. Everybody just agrees with you. Like, yeah, Portland's amazing. People bike everywhere. There are amazing houses, amazing trees, like the beaches over there. Like, nobody's ever had to defend Portland. You know what I mean? But like me, every turn I have to, I have to try to prove to people, or at least I feel like I have to prove to people, like, that Albuquerque's an okay place. And it's getting harder and harder to do that.
I think there's two sides to that. You can hear the espresso machine in the background.
Yeah.
How Portland of us. But the thing is, I feel like the good things in a city can defend themselves. I don't feel like Albuquerque needs us to defend it, because people that come to Albuquerque, like, willingly on their own to visit or see it because it's new, I feel like they have that sense of wonder, kind of like people who come to Portland do. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say our reputation is what gets in the way, because you have things like Breaking Bad, and you have things like Better Call Saul, and like there's some truth to that to an extent, but if that's the only thing people see, or they only see the news where they're talking about, oh, Albuquerque has the highest amount of, car theft in the country right now, and it's the poorest state, if that's the only thing you're paying attention to, of course you're going to have a bad taste in your mouth.
It's hard not to pay attention to those things.
Well, it is.
Like, especially me being an educator, and you and your service, like, we see it. It's in front of us.
Yeah, but we also see the crappy part of humankind and poverty every day, because that's our job. Mm-hmm. If I was an artist in New Mexico, or I was a barista in New Mexico, or I was doing something else that was more upbeat and positive in that community, I wouldn't have that perspective as much. It's because you and I, because of our jobs and our careers, we are placed in front of the worst parts of humanity in our city daily. So you kind of have to try not to be cynical, and it's hard. It's interesting because this morning we were having breakfast with my friend Andrew, and he was saying that his girlfriend admires the fact that I've done case management, which I can appreciate, and thank you. It is hard, but it's not anything admirable. And I'm not saying that to sound like a humble brag.
Is it for you just what you do, or?
It's just because I like people. I care about people. It's my nature to enjoy being around people, and I enjoy problem solving with people. And so maybe that's more selfish. Like, it's not like I'm some saintly person and I'm like, oh, I just want to give of myself all the time. It's not really that. It's just kind of where my personality fits my career.
And I think that if you are a person that is like that, like trying to advertise of how humble you are, like, you wouldn't last in the field.
No, because you don't. Okay, from a professional perspective, case management, you never get paid enough, like financially, to deal with the things that you deal with. You have to actually want to be doing that job to do it, and to do it well. If you are doing it for money or for admiration or to somehow make yourself feel better and give yourself a pat on the back, you're not going to last. You're going to end up really cynical and angry. Oh, there's a dog. And and you're not going to make it. Like, and again, that's not to be like humble bragging. It's literally because it's hard not to get cynical when you see that every single day. You just have to realize that you're only seeing one piece of a society, not all of it.
Maybe you're getting the full story too, because I think that people in Albuquerque, like, and I don't mean to talk about Albuquerque because we're in Portland. We should enjoy Portland.
No, I think it's a good conversation.
People in Albuquerque, they are aware. Mm-hmm. You know, they're aware. They're aware that we're the poorest state in the country. Teen pregnancy is the highest in New Mexico than it is anywhere else in the country.
Right.
Education is the worst. Like, we were second worst, which is nothing to be proud of, but now it's even...
Now you're just bragging.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Now we are the worst. We just saw a news article that, like, car thefts in Albuquerque are the highest in 2016 than any other place, Albuquerque. Like, people who are watching the news in Albuquerque, they know, like, we have these issues. Mm-hmm. But for you, and maybe a little bit me, like, we get to see the backstory a little bit. I don't know.
No, and that's true. I think we get a good balance because there's some really great people in Albuquerque, and there's some really great things happening too. Like, there is an amazing art scene in Albuquerque and Santa Fe and like that whole area. Like, the art there is something different than I have ever seen anywhere else. You know, I have a friend here in Portland who is an artist, and he was telling me, like, I would love to get into a gallery in Santa Fe because Santa Fe has a progressive attitude towards art that Portland doesn't have yet. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that's interesting. And he said Portland is still, as far as art goes, it's very stuck in a certain, like, genre and a certain subtype of art.
Yeah.
And he said New Mexico is, like, on the frontier for good art, and it's progressive, and there's things that you can try, like, artistically in the Southwest that would not fly here.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. Like, that's coming from an outside perspective. You know, again, we are... One thing about New Mexico that I like is we are an up-and-coming city. Well, not New Mexico, Albuquerque, I mean. We're an up-and-coming city. We have all these new businesses and coffee shops, like, kind of booming, sort of how Portland probably was changing in the 90s. But, like, it's been undiscovered. So we are at the peak of something really good. It's still affordable. And I have no doubt that Albuquerque can be just like Portland. And I think we're moving that direction. We're not there yet economically. But, like, the spirit and the heart and the artistic, like, mindset of that is coming.
Do you think there's a resistance in Albuquerque? You know what I mean? Like, a resistance towards not accepting, like, being last. You know what I mean? Like, is there that spirit in Albuquerque? Are there people who are like that are not willing to accept?
I think it's generational, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't want to say coming from an outside perspective because I've been there for over a decade, but I think that the older generations in New Mexico did accept mediocrity, and they have accepted, like, that this is the way it is, and it's not going to change.
It's not mediocrity anymore, I think. I think it's gone from mediocrity to just unacceptable, like, just bottom. You know what I mean? Like when you read these stories about child abuse and, like, it's just bad.
No, and that's true. But that's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's everywhere. It's not just in New Mexico. And the thing is, you have to sometimes hit rock bottom before you can be completely revamped and built back up. You have to sometimes shake that system down before you can rebuild it into something that works.
I think we're there.
Yeah, and I'm excited to be a part of that. I mean, that's why I'm kind of like, I would love to move to Portland. I love Portland, but I almost have this innate curiosity to see what's going to happen in Albuquerque.
You think something good will happen?
I think we're on our way to something good. I think it's going to take a while, but I think that I see a shift. I see people moving there. I see things happening, and it might be slow moving, but I do see progress. And I'm excited to see where that progress takes us as a city.
Yeah. Well, a couple of episode. I don't know. I feel weird calling it a podcast or episodes or anything.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
Because I'm on this topic and I'm sorry. I feel like the good thing about coming to Portland is you can see the end result of progress, or you can see the polished result of progress.
Portland is more polished.
They've been doing this for a while, but you get a glimpse of what our city could be when it moves a different direction. It's like looking at a timeline. We're looking at the beginning
Right.
in Albuquerque, and then we're kind of looking a little bit further down the timeline in Portland, and you're seeing what could be. But people have to mentally and emotionally invest in that. You know, I think it'll happen. I do.
Yeah.
People are intrigued by New Mexico. We are interesting, and we are off the grid, off the map. People don't know about us. We are kind of still that like mysterious little place that if you've never been, you have no idea what to expect, and that
Right.
can be to our advantage.
Yeah. As long as we stop stealing people's things out of their U-Hauls as they're passing through. I don't know how many times I read a story and it's like, oh, so-and-so is passing through from blah, 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 blah town to blah, 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 blah town and lost all their belongings. And I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously, Albuquerque, stop this. I don't know.
Well, we need to stop carrying that attitude of being on the defensive. We can be more proactive towards change and less defensive towards like resisting change.
Right. Well, a couple of episodes prior. Just prior.
Yeah.
I was talking about how I had like a spiritual kind of weird attachment to Santa Fe when we go there.
I remember.
Did you feel that on this trip towards Portland?
I do. I was telling my friend Andrew, this trip for me has been about a lot of closure, and I don't really want to get into that stuff like on this episode, but personally, there's a lot of things that I felt like I needed some closure on, just from my childhood and from growing up here, and just some things in my own life that I needed to have some closure for myself, and I feel like I got that on this trip, and that's sentimental to me. I feel like this trip has allowed me to kind of move forward in a few ways, and that's really good. That's really healthy for me. I needed it, and I definitely am grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, because I think I can go back home now and sort of process it and like move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying like because of the way that you're moved away from Portland?
A little.
Yeah. You said you didn't want to go into it. I'm sorry.
Well, I can be general, but it's complicated. My brother had cancer when I was a kid, and my dad and I lived here in Portland. My mom had to move to Seattle to be with my brother because he was getting treatment up there. And I was actually really anxious about going and visiting Seattle on this trip because it holds a lot of really heavy feelings for me.
Right.
And I just wasn't sure like how I was going to react, honestly, because
And driving that I-5 and seeing all those places you and your dad stopped and stuff.
yeah, it does I really honestly have not had a chance to process some parts of like that part of my life, but I feel like I was able to in a healthy way this time.
That's good. I'm glad I was here with you.
Yeah, me too. Well, and I want to be able to make good and happy memories here that I can take with me instead of only having negative ones. And I think that was the biggest thing. Like, there's certain memories that I had, like, of Portland and of Seattle, of childhood and things like that were just sad and unhappy and depressing, and I never got a chance to really process through them. And so being here and creating new memories to kind of like overshadow those crappy ones has been really nice.
That's good.
Yeah. So.
That's good. Well, I think we both kind of like gone through our both kind of like emotional things, like
Yeah.
on this trip. I am realizing a couple things. One, we have a really good church.
Yeah.
We have a good community. We have good friends.
Well, we've put roots down. Like, we've invested in rooting ourselves somewhere, and I love that.
Yeah. What I like about our church is that they realize that they have work to do.
Well, they realize that the community is not perfect, but they also realize they can be part of that solution instead of just like waiting for someone else to do it. Proactive community solution.
I think a lot of the communities that we've been a part of since we've been in Albuquerque have been kind of just
stagnant.
Yeah, stagnant. And I kind of don't like the phrase that we embrace in Albuquerque, being the land of mañana. I hate that. Like, let's do this now. You know what I mean?
Like, let's the land of today.
The land of today.
Like, let's get it done.
Like,
yeah,
like,
mañana means like let's do it tomorrow. Like, and
Yeah.
if you put something off tomorrow, then you don't ever do it. And
Right.
so it's kind of true about New Mexico. Like,
Right.
the land of mañana is like it'll never get done.
And that's me too. Like, I feel like here people get things done. They're like, let's do this now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna wait. Let's do this now. And in Albuquerque, it's like, oh man, I should do that someday. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And then it never gets to it. Like,
Well,
and-
it never goes past the I should do this phase. It just kind
Right.
of sits in that forever.
yeah,
People, and that's I think the biggest thing that drives me crazy is like when you know you need to do something, then do it. Don't sit there and talk about how you need to do it, because talking about how you need to do it isn't going to get it done.
true.
You know, you can talk about I shoulda, coulda, woulda all day long, but in the end, that doesn't accomplish anything.
Right.
So that's kind of like one of those things where I feel like that attitude needs to be embraced a little more in New Mexico. Like, if you have the tools to do it and you have the ability and the time to do it, then why are we not doing it?
True.
You know, like, let's do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just enjoying, like, kind of soaking in these last, like, couple hours in Portland and really just, you know, taking it in, thinking about it, taking it back with us, seeing what we can do.
Right. Yeah, I need to. I'm weird. I'm a weird person.
Oh, really?
Just a little bit.
Oh, how weird. I had no idea.
I brought an Albuquerque journal from Albuquerque.
You left it somewhere so someone would find it, right?
No, I haven't. So I think I'm gonna, after we talk here, I'm gonna go grab it and just gonna leave it on the counter there.
You should.
Just so people, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm weird. I'm just strange.
But I get that though. Like you just kind of want to like sort of subtly like leave that perspective
Yeah.
for somebody.
Well, I think
Maybe it'll
about
spark something.
how
Never know.
cool it would be if I was at like Humble or Java Joe's or something, like having a cup of coffee. It doesn't happen very often. Well, more often now that I'm like John's into coffee.
Yeah.
So, my buddy
And
John.
my friend Christina's into coffee. I'm so excited. I saw her yesterday. We saw her and her husband and her baby, who's adorable, yesterday. And she drinks coffee now. So when she comes to visit New Mexico, hint, hint, Christina, I have so many places I want to take you.
Yeah, Humble, Java Joe's, I think, is probably my favorite spot.
It is.
I do like
it's
it.
OG for sure. I
It's
love
pretty.
Java's.
It's pretty damn OG.
Although Velvet Coffee House is slowly creeping
Where's
up.
Velvet?
In Old Town, we went there like
Oh
twice.
yeah,
in,
yeah.
like,
Velvet
1
was
week.
pretty cool.
I feel like that might be my new up and coming spot. I do love Humble though.
Yeah.
They're by far like the nicest people.
They're super cool, and they're right by Highland.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was at one of those coffee shops and I just happened upon like a what's the is it the Oregonian?
Yeah.
Is it the Portland Oregonian?
I think.
Or is it just the Oregonian?
Yeah, the
Because
Oregonian.
in Santa Fe we have the Santa Fe New Mexican. But
No, that's just the Oregonian.
so
we don't have to.
it's called the New Mexican, but it's the Santa Fe New Mexican.
In case you were confused.
Yeah, in case you were confused. But if I was there and I just there's an Oregonian, I would absolutely read it because I would love to know what's going on
Yeah.
in Oregon.
Yeah.
So, can I tell you a little bit more about how weird I am?
Please tell me how weird you are. I want to hear more.
I don't know if it's weird or just I have no idea. But I love to, like, when I'm traveling, watch the local news. I like to see like, what do the weather people do? What does their set look like? I like to know like what's going on in their city, and it's weird. And one time,
it's like you're taking the local temperature of like what's important to
Yeah.
people here. Like, what do they care about right now? Like, what's on their minds? You
right?
know?
Because I'm super used to like our stuff. We watch the local news every morning. KRQE
Yeah.
13.
Kristen Curry.
Kristen Curry.
Our 5-year-old loves to watch you in the morning if you're ever listening to this.
She's absolutely listening. She knows all about us.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know. Luke do you
What's
remember
the-
when he used to be like all about that? And he'd be like, I need to watch the news. And we're like, you're 4 years old. What do you need to watch the news for?
I know.
What are you waiting for?
He likes the weather. He'll get excited and say, "Hey, Dad, there's a cold front coming in. Oh, we're gonna have a high of 52 and a 30% chance of rain, partly cloudy." I'm like, "What?"
He gets that from you. That is all you. That weirdness is
Makes
genetic.
me proud.
Yeah.
Makes me proud, my boy.
Genetic weirdness.
Adam Atchison, love him. And I don't know, I can't remember like the other lady's name.
Oh.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Huh.
Why? That's so bad.
We watch them every morning.
I know, that's so bad. I feel like I forgot the name of a good friend.
I know.
Wow, we are a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to ask you. So.
Who are you asking?
I'm asking you.
Me or all our fans?
I'm asking you. They can listen in.
We don't have any fans.
All our fans, like Ryan Freeman, my brother. Yeah.
Ryan, thanks for listening. We really appreciate you listening, dude.
Okay. I don't want to bring him up every episode because this isn't his deal. You have your own life to deal with. So, what has been the most interesting or cool or strange thing that you've seen in Portland, or all three actually, since you've been here this time?
Cool, interesting, or strange?
Or maybe all three.
I think the pedestrian culture. Is that even a thing?
Well,
but I knew people rode bikes around here, but it is intense. It is really intense.
Right, it's a major form of transportation.
Yeah, I tried to cycle to work in Albuquerque, and I'm terrified. There are some people who cycle to work. I see them on the way to and from work, but it is nowhere near Portland. And then, pedestrians,
it's a small minority movement.
Motorists are kind of put in their place here. You know what I mean? They're very aware of pedestrians, not just people on motorcycles, but I've seen some skateboarders.
More conscientious, also.
And
it's just sort of the culture. You have to be kind of conscientious.
Just people who are walking around, if they're in a crosswalk, I have the right of way. I'm gonna go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In Albuquerque, pedestrians are
please don't hit me.
Pedestrians are terrified. I will stop at a crosswalk when I'm driving, and I'll try to let a person cross in front of the crosswalk, and they're like, "No, you go. You go. I don't trust you."
I always wait a couple extra seconds after the light turns because I know someone's going to run it.
So there's that, and then number two, which has been on my mind, is just cost of living. We kind of drove around Portland, drove around Lake Oswego, drove around Seattle.
Lake Oswego is its own animal, though.
I think the Pacific Northwest, maybe it's just a West Coast thing, but we were just looking at we were wondering about prices and stuff, and $500,000 in Portland doesn't really buy you a whole lot of house. But I guess that's not what they're worried about.
No, people are more worried about what neighborhood, what's around you, mm-hmm. what shops and restaurants. The size of the house is not the concern. Mm-hmm. It's the location and it's the accessibility of getting to public transportation so you can go do what you want to do. And people, despite the weather in Portland, people are outside a lot. Mm-hmm. People are always out doing stuff. Right. So it's almost like if you have a park or you have a great neighborhood, you don't really need a yard. You don't really need to have a huge house because you're not planning on being in your house all the time. You're out doing things.
Right. So the houses, and I feel like we're getting loud.
Okay, well, maybe
the houses and think about what $500,000 would buy you in Albuquerque or New Mexico. A lot. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I don't know if anything else just that people can make that much money to afford their life. So I was thinking either
adjusted inflation.
A couple of things. I was keeping a couple of things based on the housing prices. Mm-hmm. Either A, people have amazing jobs and they make a ton of money, or B, people are just crazy in debt.
Wow.
Or maybe a little bit of both. I don't know.
I think also if you've lived here your whole life, you've adjusted to living here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You've already adjusted to that cost of living because you've been here. Mm-hmm. It certainly would be hard to move somewhere and then, move somewhere from Albuquerque here and financially adjust if you're used to living on Albuquerque standards and
mm-hmm.
then coming to Portland, you would have to downsize a lot.
Right.
Until you could adjust to the cost of living, which would be hard. Is there anything that you love about, a certain place or thing that you've seen or done or eaten or?
Our hotel was pretty unique.
Yeah.
It was, what was it called? The Crystal Hotel?
Yeah.
So it's 4 floors.
Super excited.
Super, super small hotel rooms.
Definitely kitsch.
But it was what'd you say?
I said it's definitely kitsch for sure.
Oh, I almost thought you said kid friendly. Not really.
No, kitschy. Kitsch,
It's super old building, but they rock and roll themed it out.
Mm-hmm.
every room is like a band room, and like we were in the Jefferson Airplane
Yeah.
room, and they had the "Somebody to Love" lyrics like written across
On the wall.
on the wall, but the rooms have no bathroom. There's 4 bathrooms per floor.
Yeah, it's like community shared bathrooms per floor, and they have showers and stuff. But
Yeah, but that was the weirdest hotel I've ever been to.
it's kind of like staying in a hostel, but
Yeah.
but really it was being called a hotel.
And-
It was hotel prices. But
Yeah, and
hostel
they
comfy.
have this. They have like the stairwell. They have these paintings of just different scenes, and there was one painting that was like absolutely creepy. In fact, like I had a hard time falling asleep. Just
It
like-
weirded you out.
So things like that make
Yeah.
Portland. I think number 2 was like how nice people were.
Yeah, people are super nice.
Not even just in Portland, but in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
where Dan and Julie live. Like they had a neighbor just come over and hang out. I think people are just nice.
Yeah, we had a fun talk with the bartender last night. We stopped into the Shanghai Tunnel Bar down in Chinatown in Portland just because I was curious. It's kind of where there's all the tunnels and stuff, and I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. So we stopped in. We were the only people there, and we were talking to the bartender, and like, you know, making friends, and it's just funny because that's the kind of stuff that happens. Like, I feel like you can easily just talk and make a friend here. People are more open to talking with you, and like, it's not just, hey, how's the weather? How about those Lobos?
Brock from Salt Lake.
Yeah, Brock from Salt Lake. What
That's
up?
funny because Brock was like, "Oh, I've been in New Mexico. It was that place, I can't remember. It was like something. We're like Albuquerque." He's like, "Yeah, it's Albuquerque. They had a skate park there." And I was like, "Oh, whatever." He doesn't
Yeah.
know Albuquerque. But then we were talking about New York, and he was like, "Oh, it's that place in New York. It's like Manchester." I was like, "We're like Manhattan." So the fact that he didn't remember Albuquerque didn't make me feel that bad because he forgot Manhattan.
Yeah. No, but it was cool though. Like you could tell he was a genuine dude, just having a conversation. We actually exchanged information, and I'm like, if you ever come to New Mexico, come hang
Yeah.
out. It'd be cool.
Yeah, hope he does. He was really nice,
Yeah, he was a cool guy. He was also bearded, like you.
bearded and hatted.
Yeah, so I feel like you guys had that beard thing happening together.
Yeah.
Bearded bromance. Connection.
Nice.
Oh,
Well,
my goodness.
my coffee cup is running low.
My green tea matcha latte is running low as well, so might be time
Well,
to wrap it up.
It is.
We're
Well,
gonna take a walk up in Northwest 23rd before we take
yeah,
off.
I get a free refill on my coffee, so I might do it.
You should.
So your matcha latte, 1 to 5, what would you give it?
Honestly, I don't drink a lot of matcha lattes. It was one of those things that kind of struck me today, and I was like, yeah, I want to try that. It's just because I've been trying coffee like crazy all over the place. Not trying. I mean, I love coffee, but in Portland, I'm like, I want to get the full experience
Yeah.
of all the palettes. It's good. It's really good. It's a little sweet, but I had asked for a vanilla because I wasn't sure if it was sweet already, so that
you
might
enjoy
have
it?
just been my bad.
So maybe like a 4?
Yeah, about a 4.
Cool.
Yeah,
4.2.
it's pretty good. Are we doing decimals
Let's
here?
do math.
Let's never do that. I would say 4.5 out of 5. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this
well
conversation
done, coffee time. Well done.
has helped my mood a little bit.
Good. I could tell you were a little cranky.
I was a little emotional. Just a little emotional. I'm allowed to be emo.
I sort of feel like you're more emotional in our relationship than I am sometimes.
Maybe. I just need to listen to some saves a day, and that brings and drink some coffee, and that brings my mood up.
That's weird. That's weird. That is like the last thing I would do to make myself in a better mood. But that's
Listen to saves a day.
yeah,
I haven't listened to saves a day in forever,
yeah.
but
Well, cheers to Portland. Let's clink our coffee cups.
okay. Mine's empty, but I'll get some in a
It's all right.
second.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
All right, we'll see you in Albuquerque.
See you in Albuquerque.